Hi friends, welcome back to a new episode of the Cozy Club. Very glad that you're here. I hope that you're doing well. If you're new here, hi, I'm Fleur, and tonight we're just going to yap. This is a sleepover and you are invited, so I hope you're comfy and cozy and ready to just hang out together, really. I have a coffee here that has caramel in it and oat milk, so it's kind of a caramel oat cappuccino, but it sounds much fancier than it really is. So, I don't have much prepared. I just wanted to hop on and chat with you. There is one theme that I want to get into today, which is beauty standards. Because I just recently have come to a couple of realizations about those. And I just thought that it would be a good topic for the sleepover, you know. Before we start though, I wanted to say I have a Google form link in the description box. If you ever have any questions you would like advice on, any stories that you really want to share with the group, or whatever else, you can drop them in the Google form and I can answer them or present it in the next episode. I think that would be really fun. So spill your secrets in the Google Doc and we'll get to that. Okay, so beauty standards. I've always had a very weird relationship with, I've talked about this a lot, but with media and with my phone, social media, and I think we all know that media very heavily impacts the beauty standards and brings up a lot of insecurity, self-comparison, and I felt like with getting older, I'm almost 25, I'll be 25 on February 6th, that's almost. I would think that with getting older, that feeling of self-comparison would be a lot less. And it is less than when I was a teenager, but it's definitely still there. And I very actively try to not do it, and I have a lot of tips and tricks that I've learned in therapy to get myself out of thought spirals. But sometimes, even more so now, it happens so much more subtly that I don't even notice it until I am already deep down a rabbit hole. I'll give you an example. I'm Dutch, I live in the Netherlands, and throughout my life I've personally never really noticed that there was a lot of focus on teeth. And I know that in America, teeth and having the pearly white fake veneer mouthful of teeth is very much a beauty standard, and is something that, I don't know, I feel like in the US that's really big. Correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I hear from American friends and what I see on the media, that's a whole thing. And over the past couple of years, I've just started to notice that there's been a lot more focus on that here as well, like the 3D whitening toothpastes and the high smile, like shit that you can use to whiten your teeth, and it has just become much bigger of a thing. People are getting veneers. It's probably always been here, but it just hasn't been as big, and I do believe that media has is a big factor in that. In general, a lot of the things that happen in the US kind of blow over to our country. That's just the way that I look at things, but I see it happening. And the sad part is that a lot of people, among myself, will fall into that trap. I think it would have been very different if I wasn't on the internet and making videos and English videos so that, you know, people from even like notice this and feel the need to say something about it because my teeth are healthy. They're not yellow. But then for American standards, they probably look super yellow because the standard is somewhere else. And I think that that's ridiculous. And I very actively try to not, fall into that hole of, oh, I need to change my teeth. But then recently I went to the dentist and the question was just burning in the back of my brain. And I asked her what the options were to whiten my teeth, and I was like, what am I doing? Because I am perfectly fine as I am. There's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with my teeth. But why is there still this voice in the back of my head that says I'm not good enough, and it's not pretty enough, and it's not okay, and I am on camera, so then maybe I have to change it? While what kind of example would that be to anyone else? What if someone is watching who's struggling with their teeth and they see me changing my teeth? Like, if you want to get braces or something like that, do it. If you want to whiten your teeth, do it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. For me personally, it's only this one tooth, and spending so much money on braces for one tooth because I am a little bit insecure about it sometimes. That seems not worth it to me. I'd rather do the work in my brain than actually spend that money and do it. But then I might need retainers for grinding my teeth at night. So then I was like, well, if I'm going to be wearing retainers every night for God knows how long, maybe I should get Invisalign then so I can change up the teeth because I'm already doing the work, and then, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, but then I'm changing something about myself again. Am I not just perfectly fine as I am? And you can take this example and use it on anything, really. It's, I don't know. I talked about this in my Girl Talk Q&A about mental health, about body image and stuff. And for me, how it really helped to switch my mindset from focusing on very external things about my body to the internal things. So my body is very wise. My body keeps me safe. It tells me what I need. I can listen to my body. It can run. It can walk. It can hold things. It can make things. It can eat, taste, smell, hear, see colors. Look at all the things it can do. It's a vessel for experiencing things instead of something to be looked at and to be perceived and to be liked and desired by other people. That's not why I'm here. But, I sometimes forget, and I get lost in what I see online, and then maybe on a bad day I will have gotten a comment on it, and I will start thinking about it, or I'll pull the comment back from the archive of my brain late at night or something, and I don't know, I think that this is a very normal thing to be struggling with. We all have our things, but then how media is presenting it, and how you are bombarded by examples of influencers or celebrities or people in media who are presented to you, and them having all those things, it makes me sometimes wonder. But then, I have to look at people who represent me more in that, I guess. I might sound so vague. I know that I say this in pretty much every video, but sometimes I get so rambly and in my head that I don't know if I'm coming across, if I'm even talking in full sentences, basically. I don't know. But yeah, that's just something that has always been on my mind. It's the same when I think about plastic surgery, Botox, and fillers, things like that. On the one hand, you could argue that it's a really good thing that it's very accessible to people now, and that they have a lot more options, but people are providing discomfort. We don't really have to sit with discomfort anymore. It seems like sometimes if you feel something uncomfortable, you can take it away. You don't like your nose, just change it. You want bigger lips, okay, put some stuff in it. Okay, solved. Once again, no shade to anyone who's ever done this, and if you feel a lot better now, you know that's good for you. That's why it's here, if you feel better. I am just missing the part, I think, where we are more encouraged to think about it and do the work. And it's honestly, I do think that it's sad that it exists. And that is just my opinion, and I just don't want to insult anybody or make anybody feel bad, so know that, okay? But I do think it's a shitty thing that you can just walk into a salon and change your lips. Like, why aren't they fine as they are? Why are we made to think that we need to be prettier and more desirable and sexier, hotter, more this aesthetic, more that aesthetic? No. Oh, I hate it so much. I don't know if it's the same as, I was talking about this with my mom. My mom has always had struggles with her body image, and that also comes from her childhood. But she never talked to me during my childhood about her being on a diet, and she was consciously not talking to me about that because she didn't want me to feel like my body wasn't good as it is. And so she didn't want to influence me in that way because it was her thing. And I think that that's a really beautiful thing. But still, I saw it and I was around it. And I think that I'm trying to imagine what it would be like if I was a mother and I was changing a lot of things about myself, but telling my daughter that she's fine as she is. I don't know, that is just something that I think about a lot. I think it's just truly sad to see what the standards have become and how easy it is to fall back into those rabbit holes of self-comparison, insecurity, feeling the need to improve yourself in order for your worth to change, because it's difficult, because the thing is, if I make a YouTube video and in the thumbnail I'm not wearing makeup, or my hair looks just, natural, I just look natural, odds are very high that I get half the views because people just don't click on it as much as if I'm in makeup and I'm like in the camera, whatever. I don't really do that anyway. Once again, a conscious decision. But it is shitty because you do see the result, and pretty privilege is real, so oh my god, the world frustrates me so much sometimes. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments. On the other hand, I think it is beautiful that there are so many people out there as well who think the same way and who promote and still stand by their values. So while I sometimes get presented with this type of the beauty standard and whatever else, there's also this other algorithm that is just very real and pure, and but with algorithms sometimes it's just a wild guess in what you get presented. And so yeah, once again, really considering throwing my phone out the window. Every time I talk about media, I'm like, oh, I hate it so much. But then, I watch something funny on Instagram, or I look at my YouTube comments and I'm like, oh, I love the internet. And I know that, as a bad place and are just enjoying it. And sometimes I talk about this and I get comments like, but you should focus on the good sides of it, and it also brings people together. And yes, it does. It can be a beautiful place, and it can be incredibly toxic and polarizing, and both those things exist at the same time, and they are true at once. All of it is true at once and exists in the same space. And I don't think that I need to put my head in the sand and just focus on all the good things so that I can enjoy the internet more, or I just focus on the bad things and I shit on it completely, because both things are valid. And I think that that makes for mindful media usage and consumption of anything for that matter, if you can look at it with the duality and be neutral about it. But yeah, I'm just really still figuring out what my relationship is to the online world and how I want to keep showing up. I talked about this as well. There were just a lot of noises and I had to stop for quite a while, so I kind of lost the plot. But I think that I was talking about just me figuring out how to keep a healthy relationship with media consumption. I think that that's it. But then also what I want to show and share, blah blah blah. Anyway, so all of this to say, I really hate boxes, but I keep putting myself in them. And I think that the internet is not helping to not have those boxes, especially in the whole social media aesthetics. And I think that that's really sad. I see it on YouTube a lot. Actually, if we're going to talk about aesthetics and the algorithm and popularity and what does well, I could really write a book with my thoughts on YouTube and how the platform works and how trends and stuff work. But if we take a look at booktube, YouTube land, okay, and vlog stuff, I can name at least 12 creators with the exact same style of thumbnail editing, etc., and they're all very popular. And then I see all kinds of other creators using that same style, which I get it, be inspired by people. I get inspired by people all the time, and I take snippets of what I like from other people's content all the time. And I'm also not trying to talk down on them. It's a very natural thing that happens, because when you see something do well and you want to do well, what I wanted to do, right? But the same way, at the same time, you know, the algorithm also picks up on that, and so videos in a certain style just do better. That's just a thing. You can always improve your thumbnails, your tags, your style. So many things to give you an advantage in the algorithm just on itself. And the content doesn't even really matter if you do all the things to put you in a right place in the algorithm. However, where is all the personality at that point? Because I cannot discern this person from the other person in their thumbnail styles, for example. And I think that that's really sad, because I think that these are all very creative people. Very creative and passionate and inspired and driven. But sometimes I just wonder, are you doing that for you, or are you doing that for other people? And is that really your voice I'm seeing right now? And I want to hear your voice. And I don't know, bestie. You know what I mean? I really don't mean to sound like I'm talking down on other people either. It's just that I really see potential in people, and then I see people making these generic ass thumbnails that we've seen 40,000 times. And I'm like, I'm not saying that you have to be perfectly fucking original and undiscernible from anyone else. I am also just like all the other girls, and I love that. I do just sometimes wonder, like, is this really your style, or is this just chosen because it's popular? Where's that and how crazy AI is, and then we were just getting into this dimension in the conversation. You know how that just happens sometimes. And she was like, I'm really freaking out, especially because we're talking on FaceTime. I was like, I'm just talking to a rectangle, but you're in it. But you're not, but you also are. Like, it is you, and it's so crazy. And that was really funny to me. I don't know. But yeah, what I wanted to say with that is just that I feel like these topics are so much more conversational than just about me sending information your way, because the way that I talked about other creators and creativity and the beauty standards, like, I don't have any nuance in how I'm speaking, and I don't know your situation, so I hope that you really can take what resonates and leave what doesn't, and that I didn't offend anyone by speaking my mind about things, because the last thing I want is for anyone to feel like they've done something wrong, or that they feel less, or that they get super mad at me. I don't know, especially because it's ASMR and we're getting cozy and comfy. I just sometimes feel a little bit more careful with what I say and how I'm coming across, because I don't want to pull you out your relaxation. But then, you know, I do want to voice my opinion, and that's just the way that I look at things. And it's interesting, this generation, and where we're at with the digital world, truly. And I think that, for me, it just hasn't been the best thing, maybe, that my job is now YouTube. Like, on the one hand, like, yes, it's the best thing, okay? But I spend a lot more time focusing on the online world instead of me going out and about doing my job and then coming home. I do go out, I see my friends, I still see my old co-workers, I hang out with them, I do things, I do a volunteering project, you know, things like that. But in my day-to-day, I just have a lot more focus on online. I think probably the same if you work in graphic design or media marketing, things like that. Very quickly there's a lot of focus on the online world instead of the physical world around us. And I think it's always good to be focused on the physical world around us, like your local areas, your neighbors, the people you run into in the grocery store, you know, the local news. I think that those are very important things to keep in touch with. And I think that that's another thing about what I was talking about, like how American media very quickly, or trends and stuff, it very quickly travels to the Netherlands. But it's very noticeable in the news that, you know, that's on every day. Recently, my dad was watching the news and I sat down with him and it was just starting. And they were going to talk about something that had happened in the Netherlands, like politically or something. There was something going on. And they teased that topic, and then first they went to talk about some traffic accident that happened in the US. And it's really horrible that that happened. And I think that it's very good to show these things. First of all, there are a lot of countries in the world that we never see anything about in the news. And why are you naming that traffic incident first and our national issues later? Because the national issue has a lot more direct impact on everyone living here than that traffic incident. Because there aren't a lot of Dutch people in America on the roads, probably, that are, you know what I mean? Like, the relevancy. Is that a word? That's really, truly, if you are in the Netherlands, I would love to hear your thoughts on this, but I see it all the time in the news. next episode. I've lost the battle with my mind. Let me think if I have any other tea to spill. If I have any hot gossip or something. I don't think I do. I don't think they've been pretty calm here after New Year's and the holidays. My life has been pretty simple. I'm really back to basics, like trying to find some structure again, making travel plans, but nothing crazy has happened, which is kind of nice, I have to say. The sun has come out a couple times now. It's snowing right now. But yeah, things have been calm and quiet here. Within my family, within my friend group. Everyone's just chilling. What a relief. Anyway, I've been reading more. That's very exciting to me. I started reading Frida McFadden. She writes thrillers, I think. They're not 5-star reads for me, but I was very entertained by the first one. I read The Housemaid. I will talk about it in a book video. But I read The Housemaid and I finished it in a day. Because I couldn't put it down. So, obviously, I also downloaded the second one, and I'm gonna read that today. And, yeah, it's been very fun to have some fun reads back to back, because I've noticed that that's been a huge thing the past year, where I would have read a book, and then the next one is, and I just stop reading, and it's nice to stay in that habit of reading, but it's so dependent on the book, and then also, of course, the time that you make for it, but it's really been about the book and the story, and this year is going to really be my year of literary fiction and other genres. Whoa. What? It's really literary fiction and other genres. That's very vague for anyway. But literary fiction, non-fiction, historical fiction, thrillers maybe, but just a little bit less romance. Might also have to do with my own views right now on romance and my own past experience that I'm definitely still processing. I just still, when I read a romance, I just either get incredibly sad, or I get so angry, or I close the book and then I kind of feel a little empty just because I'm still sad and angry about things. I don't know, I'm not having a lot of fun with the romance at the moment, so I'm just trying to stay away from it. It's the same with music, like the lovey-dovey music, or seeing couples on Instagram or things like that. I'm just really in my don't bother me with romance era. I'm just trying to really decentralize it from my life and just, yeah, focusing on my friendships a lot, which has been phenomenal. I always have, but it's just, yeah, I think it's a really interesting time for me and my friends personally. I don't know how much I've talked about my close friends, but you've met Nicole, who's been on videos, but there's also Linda and Merel, and the four of us went to elementary school together and we're still friends. Linda especially is, I've known her since birth because our parents were friends, and so I really grew up with her, but we've had phases where we were more in touch and less in touch throughout high school and stuff because we didn't go to the same high school, but now we are so close, and it's so wonderful to have friends who do genuinely feel like life partners in that way of, you know, we've talked about that, if you have children, like, I'm here through every path in your life, I'm going to be here. They truly feel like family with every argument that we've ever had, which have been barely any, but through difficult times as well, it's values, and we view a lot of things the same way, and very open to each other, and I can really be myself around them. And we are all now graduating. I graduated at the beginning of 2023, and Linda is graduating next month, and then Nicole is starting her master's already next month, and Middle is starting a master's in September, I think. But we're all kind of in this, either the after or the in-between of college, and I think that it's a very transformative time, because what I see in Linda that I really had that last year was, okay, I'm done with college, now what? And I have all this freedom, what do I want to do with it? How do I want to spend my time? And I know that in a lot of countries and stuff, you move to the city you study in and then you move back, and that's kind of a standard thing. But here it's not specifically like that so directly. When I moved to the city for college, I didn't really imagine myself moving back, but then I did. But it kind of felt like, okay, just a new chapter of your life, and not this in-between thing, which now it sometimes feels like it was a bit of an in-between thing. Like, I spent 4 years at college and now I'm done, and I am not working in the field that I had studied for, but that makes it feel really odd, I think. And with Linda as well, she's like, okay, well, I want to travel and do this and that, but then what do I want to do after that? And you know, it's suddenly there's not this structure in your life anymore that school always provided, because you knew, okay, in September I'm starting something, in May I'm finishing something, and then my holiday periods are here, and here. And now, and there's not a Monday to Friday. What is time? And I think that this is a really transformative time in that, because all that structure is out the window and you get to determine structure again and redefine it. And you get to make all these big life decisions all over again. And I think that that's really cool, and it's really cool to watch my friends make those decisions and grow, and we all can see our prefrontal cortexes develop, which is wonderful, you know. It's a time of a lot of change, but mostly internally, and growth. And I think it's really beautiful to witness it, and it's very beautiful to get to share it with my friends. And yeah, I'm just really grateful to have them, and I love them a lot, and that almost made me cry. Anyway, I am going to log off. Definitely send me your questions or stories in the Google Doc so I can include them in the next episode, and share with me your thoughts on beauty standards, how you deal with them. Any thoughts you want to spill on the topics, just feel free to share it with all of us in the comments. And just thank you for being here, spending time with me. I will gladly see you in my next video. I'm wishing you a very peaceful, chill time wherever you are. Here's your forehead